Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the live show with Rob. We're back and we're doing it all again. Please excuse the strange looking little gold thing here. I'm hoping it's going to work. We've had a few issues, a few strange things go on with the audio, so I'm making a few changes and yeah, we'll see how we go. So we're going to use this for our live podcast today. We'll see how things are. So hopefully the audio is okay. If the audio goes pear-shaped, just let me know. Good morning, welcome. I see there's some strong signs and some dollar signs there. And looking good there, man. Looking good there. Right, so we've got some people on the show, and we're here and we're ready to go. You'll know this morning's trade of the day was the Aussie dollar, the US dollar. I haven't traded into it yet. I'm waiting for a retest because this is a break and retest. And I think I've told you guys about break and retest before. When it comes off a normal support or resistance level, you know, you can take it with a straight, very simple red or green candle. But when it breaks through a level, it's best to just wait for it to come back and do a little retest before you take the trade, just to see what's going on. Hi, will this live be available for later? Yes, just if you go into my channel, and you under the channel there'll be a live button and you'll find all the live videos there. I've also put a row of all the live videos, so you'll find the original live video there. I don't convert it into a normal video or anything to that effect. I leave it as a live, as an old live video, but my old live videos are there for you to enjoy, so you can really go back and watch them again if you want to. Morning Roy. Okay, go enjoy the Zoom meeting. I mean, we've all got to work. We've all got to do something. And, you know, actually on that note, all good, Lawrence. I hope to see you soon again. But, you know, on that note, it's actually quite funny. I did have a comment that a guy said to me, if you're such a pro and you've been here so long and, you know, why aren't you like this? Why do you only have 6,000 subscribers? And why aren't you this multi-millionaire guy showing off your Lamborghinis and all that sort of thing? What's going on? You know, and he was actually quite aggressive about it. And I thought, that's crazy. You haven't really watched the videos, have you? You don't really know who I am and what are you talking about? And my wealth has got nothing to do with you. Whether I'm poor, rich, mediocre, it's got nothing whatsoever to do with this person. And they're asking me this question. And why have I only got 6,000 subscribers? And I did answer it. I said, well, you have to understand that what people want to hear and what they actually hear is two different things. People don't want to hear me telling them that they're not going to make $1 million in a day. They want to hear that the money's just going to fall out the sky and they're going to make $1 million today. And you can just jump onto trading on any time frame and you're just going to make money. And also, you know, I don't know, these guys are nuts sometimes. They don't listen and they don't watch the show and they don't understand what it's all about. Not to mention the channel's relatively new, but, you know, at the end of the day, why don't people listen? It's, you know, assumption is the mother of all evil. They're assuming things of me because of what's happening everywhere else on the channel, on the YouTube and whatnot, where these guys are showing off their millions and all the rest of it. So they assume that somehow, because I'm a trader that's been around for 30 years, that I should also be showing off these millions to you. And I've said over and over again, I don't know how many times I've said it, that trading is a career. You can make a good living from it. You can become wealthy from it. And some people are incredibly lucky with it, others not. But how many times I've said that 80% of traders lose money? How many times I've said that this is something you have to work out and work at, and you're not going to become rich in a day. And it's a normal career like anything else. Like I said, you can make a good living out of it. You can be wealthy or not wealthy. And how much wealth I make or how good a trader I am has got nothing to do with how good a trader you're going to be. You can copy me to the T. Doesn't mean you're going to be a great trader, because it's all about how your mind approaches the market at the end of the day. It's how you perceive the market and how you perceive your risk and how you manage it as you go and what your psychology is like. Are you one of those people that's able to get your head around something like this and become a good trader? You know, so it is quite crazy how so many of these guys they make a comment like that, and it just grates me that they haven't really listened. They're assuming things, and they don't really understand the way of the world. And you know, and you're assuming that I don't have millions. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm not going to tell you because then what, you're going to come kidnap my family so that you can get. No, it's not going to work, dude. Sorry, no. If I won the lottery and I won $200 million, I wouldn't tell anyone, to be quite honest with you guys. I'd tuck it away and enjoy it. That would be it. End of story. I'm not that type of person. Never will be. Never have been. So don't expect that from me. If that's what you were expecting, then you must go to one of those channels where the guys are showing you Lamborghinis and money falling out of the sky and that sort of thing. And maybe you'll get rich, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Yeah, so, Lawrence says, yes, definitely Hazelmark property meeting. I know you were in real estate as well. I was in real estate for a while because I wanted to get the license, because in this country, to deal in real estate, you have to have a license. But then I wasn't there for long when I found out the guys are stealing out of trust accounts and robbing people and carrying on and what have you. So I walked away from the game. I actually was going to register my own real estate agency, and it was actually going to be possible through the Keller Williams brand because they were actually quite helpful. But I decided not to get involved any further. I've got my real estate investments, and that's it. And I'm staying with that, and I'm not going to deal in it any further than that. It was one of these things that I had in mind, and I thought it would be a great idea. But when I saw how the industry was operating and how things were going, and yeah, I don't need to work like that. It's not important to me, so I walked away from that. Yeah, pennies before pounds. Yeah, Bob, that's true. Pennies before pounds. That's how it works. There's no easy fix. I don't know. There's so many guys out there who believe there's an easy fix in the markets for some other odd, strange, phenomenal, wonderful reason. And no matter what you try, you've always got to work at it, and you've always got to figure it out. I don't know what your trade is at the moment or what you're doing. I've done many things in my life as well while I was trading or investing or whatever you want to call it. I've had different businesses in my life. I've even been in motor parts. I've had motor parts stores. I've been in finance. I've been in a number of different things, but I haven't worked for a boss since I was 27 years old. Apart from that little real estate stint that I did to try and get the license, which was difficult in its own because, when I saw what the people were doing, because I know business and I know it inside out, and I could see what the oaks were doing, and then they stole the tax money and I don't know what else. So no, I walked away from that very, very quickly and didn't get involved because I could see what was going to happen. And then I'd have to go to the office every day and open the shop and have people working for me again and all the rest of it. And I wasn't really interested. So I decided to give it up as a bad job. The other thing I found out was if I did get the license, I had to keep on renewing it every year. And even now, if I want to keep it, I have to renew it. So I've let it go. It's crazy. And if you're not practicing for a certain amount of time, and I didn't want to practice. So, it's actually quite crazy. So I got some qualifications for it. I mean, I've got enough to own an agency, but I don't really want to own an agency. So I've left it out. Here's the funded trader account, guys. It had a bad run, and now it's got a decent trade in it. This is the Germany. That's doing pretty well. The stop loss is up at cost. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if it keeps on going north and if it goes the right way for us. This is on the funded trader accounts, this funded trader markets. There is a link in the description for those guys who are interested in it. And if you want this, you can just go and click on it. They've got lots of little discounts on by the looks of things at the moment. So go and enjoy yourself. Go and have fun with it. But yeah, we're trying to see if we can get this to do something. And because a lot of guys said that they couldn't work with a funded trader account with our system. And you kind of can. It works. It actually does work. It works with anything. These are the trades of the day today. Okay, so back to norm. Yeah, you see, Lawrence, especially now, it's the new FICA, it's the new acts, and then they became, I used to be there when it was still the EAAB, and then it became the PPRA, and that's basically when it's about, I walked away about 4 or 5 years ago, actually, and it was just, it wasn't working for me. Yeah. So yeah, we'll talk later, Lawrence, and yeah, I know your plight as well, Lawrence. It's if you can master trading, do me a favor, dude. Master the trading. Get away from that industry if you can, because it's just gonna drive you completely insane. It's an insane industry that really. I thought I'd be clever and get involved in that because I got a few property investments. I thought this is a good idea. Man, that was one of my more worse. How can I say worse? The worst ideas, yeah. One of my worst ideas, yeah. Yeah, that wasn't a good idea at all. That was a bad idea. And I don't know why I actually did that, because it wasn't like I needed the money or anything. I just I just thought it was something that I wanted to do, and because I love houses, I love properties. Oh man, I grew up. I used to dream of, I used to design houses and homes and interiors and designs and all that sort of thing. In fact, my son does it now. He designs places and whatnot, and edits and buildings and companies and offices and all that sort of stuff. He does it for fun, and I love it as well. I used to love it. Still do. Still do. You just can't do it as a business. That's all. Yeah. So yeah, there you go, Lawrence. Just like you. Yeah, totally. That's the problem. You get sucked in. You get sucked into it. That's the problem. How's it, Daniel? Welcome. Yeah, glad to see you on board. Glad to see you here, and glad to see you back on form. So here we are, trying to make the odd trade here and there. Let me know if the sound is bad, guys, because this gold thing here, this little thing is, I had to make some adjustments. And in fact, yesterday's power failure actually blew one of my computers up. It's sitting here. I've got to sort that out as well. Got to fix it. It's because I run on more than one computer. I'll tell you what. Yeah, every time it was supposed to be scheduled maintenance that they never let us know about, and then the power just like blew all the computers off, and then they said there was a fault. I tell you, the fault was the whole day, but I went on to backup power, and I used my backup power, which I've got lots of, and I ran it the whole day. I mean, the real power only came back on at 6 o'clock last night. But in the meantime, I went to switch this one computer on this morning, and it's probably blown a memory module or something. I see it's struggling. Nothing's new. Nothing's new. Whenever they do these things, they always cause trouble. Now, we were expecting, Daniel, you say, was it a bit windy there on our side of the world? We were expecting an immense, gargantuan storm on Sunday night. And I was actually helping my brother-in-law move to the other side of the world, to the Oman's side of the world. And he had this huge trailer that he's got himself and whatnot. And it kind of like, what actually happened was, when I saw this wind, I was so concerned about him moving around with that damn trailer on the back of the van. But yeah, we didn't really get the big storm we expected. Yeah, Daniel, I've quoted on solar for my place, and the trouble with my place is it's three-phase electricity, number one. And they can do it, but it's such a big place. I'm not boasting here, guys. Sorry, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just saying, okay, Daniel, it's such a big place that I need, well, they quoted for a system that can just run my household. I'm looking at around 260,000 Rand. That's the solar and the batteries and whatnot. I think it's probably going to end up costing me more than that because it's three-phase. I'm running 3 geysers in the house. It's hectic. It's a big place. So I've got to look at that. I'm budgeting for that. I'm looking at putting that in probably next year because I know the load shedding's obviously going to come back. 12 kilowatt sun sink. Okay. Yeah. So how's the train? Welcome. 12 kilowatt sun sink, it's 3-phase. Okay, all right. I'll have a look at that. It's probably that 12 kilowatts is probably the one they were quoting on most likely, and that's the one that can just about run the house, I think, which would be fine. I actually would like something that can sort of run the house and not use the normal electricity on the normal basis, and only when that runs low, maybe switch over to normal electricity, so that actually runs the house most of the time. Then gets 16 kVA, about 100k each. Okay. Oh, that's great, Daniel. 100k is a lot better than 260k, because that's what they quoted me. 100k is a lot better. Yeah, no, they're quoting me around 260. It's like, sure. I'm like, okay, I don't mind paying that, but it must work. And that's another thing I'm trying to find out, because I see my neighbor Ben down here got something. And I want to, and some guy that I know in Australia was really complaining and saying, it's a lot of old rubbish and it doesn't work. And now I'm in like, okay, now I'm going to spend this money. Is it going to work? Is it actually going to work? And that's important. It needs to work. You need about 20. You seem to know a lot about this, Daniel. You need about 20 kVA storage. Yeah, you're probably right. That's what I'm expecting. That I need a lot of storage. I need a lot of kVA, and I know that. I know that for sure. 15 540 watt panels. Okay. Wow. You're giving me a lot of advice here. This is cool. Yeah, no, actually, if you know of any good companies that do this, you can drop me a name anytime. I'll contact them for a quote as well. My good friend is actually an electrician, and unfortunately, he lives in Gauteng, so it's a pity, eh? Man, otherwise I'd have him do it, and it would cost me a lot less, and it'd be done properly. Yeah, one of those things, but that's the life. Now we're talking about solar panels, and we should be talking about trading. Sorry, guys. For those of you that are here for trading, really sorry about that. Going on about my electricity, of course, which has been a bit of a nightmare. While the load shedding was on through the year, I was actually looking at getting myself one of those systems. That's why I got the quotes. For those of you that are not from South Africa, who don't know anything about load shedding is what they do because the country didn't have enough power to supply us, probably because the coal was wet or stolen or whatever the case, and a lot of corruption was involved in our power supplier, which used to be the best in Africa and is not anymore. And we were getting power sharing is what you could refer to it as where they would switch us off for up to 8 hours a day. Sometimes 6 hours a day, sometimes 4 hours a day, but in schedules. So they'll switch you off for 2 hours now in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours in the evening. That's 6 hours, something like that. And we called it load shedding. And you got kind of used to it. Everyone got used to it. And that's where we were with it. And it's really difficult to work when you're working with load shedding, let me tell you, especially if you're doing something like trading. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how bad that is? Yeah, it's I've got backup power generators and all that sort of thing, Daniel, but it is expensive because it's running on fuel, so it does get expensive to run those diesel generators and stuff. So no, I would prefer to have solar, most definitely. Not to mention that I'm gassing my neighbors. So I would prefer to move on to the solar definitely in the long run. So I will do that. I am definitely going to do that. When I put my backup power in, it was before the solar times. Really, well, the solar was still around and experimental and that, but nobody was putting it in their houses. So of course I put a fuel generator in, which switches on, and well, at the time everybody was doing that, and it runs the house. But I've connected it to one phase, and it works. It works because it runs most of the stuff in the house on the one phase. That's probably not the most legal thing to do, but yeah, it works. So it keeps me going when I'm trading or when I'm busy or doing these types of things. Bit pain, but it works. But I would like to change it over to solar, with thus the quotes last year and whatnot. So you're very happy. So Daniel, you've obviously got solar and you're obviously extremely happy with it. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, can I get solar and will I be happy with it? So, I'm looking to find out from people if they are happy with it, if it is working for them, and if it can be a good thing, because I believe it can be. I believe that's the way to go. I believe that's what I'm going to look at. I know the panels are going to have to be maintained every 20 years or cleaned or whatever the case. The cleaning part is a bit difficult because, double story on the top, whatnot, but I'm sure we can figure that out. Get some people in to do it. They do the roof anyway, so they might as well do the panels. Okay. So pissed. Hey, China, got you live, but I'm so glad you came and got me live. That's that's why I'm here. I'm here live. I'm here for you guys, and that's what I wanted. The Euro AUD, the Euro Aussie dollar. Are you looking at the Euro Aussie dollar? Okay, do I have it on my watch list? No, probably not. We'll just add it on here. The Euro Aussie dollar. Since we're, we can't sit here talking about power all day. I'll do under because that's an Aussie broker there. Okay, so that looks pretty bullish to me. That looks extremely bullish to me. And so obviously I've been here before and I've drawn in a resistance level and I've drawn in a support level on the dailies. And if I look at this on the 4 hour, I most definitely wouldn't go short on it in any sense of the word, even though there is a slight bearish trend down here. It's in the middle of its range. Looks like it's trading in a range. So you are in a range. If I was you, Euro Aussie dollar, I'd simply trade it off the resistance and support levels. You probably could get a buy around these levels down here if it comes back. It's in structure at the moment, so it's going up, come down, going up, coming down, going up, coming down, going up. It'll probably come back down to about the 163.80 level, and you can carry on going long with it, going long all the way to your main resistance level. So definitely in an uptrend, Shen. Definitely in an uptrend. That one is looking very bullish, and I would most certainly look for another buy on that. If you're in the trade at the moment, just keep moving your stop loss up with it, and that will be your best bet. Even this DAX is looking pretty strong. Yeah, looks good there. Why didn't I take a bigger trade here? I'm going against my own policies here. Why did I take half the trade? I actually don't know why I did that. I guess I should keep a journal and go back and find out why I did that. It doesn't really matter. It's fine. It's okay. It's a profitable trade. That's all that matters. We're not losing anything on it just yet. So that's great. And this trade is, the stop loss I've moved up to cost, by the way, in case you guys are in this trade. I have moved the stop loss up to cost because there's no point in losing any money on this trade now. It is a couple $100 in profit on the funded. And everywhere else, it's also a few $100 in profit. I don't know why I was messing around with this thing. The US 500. Guys, this one is concerning me. I don't know, for the members, you guys would have seen on the members video this morning that I was a little bit concerned about this guy. It looks a bit like a head and shoulders. There looks a bit like a double top up there. I'm a little bit concerned about the US 500, S&P 500, ES. They're all the same. This doesn't look pretty, but if I look at the Dow Jones, that doesn't look too bad. And if I look at the tech, that also doesn't look too bad. So it is a bit confusing because the US 500 is showing a nasty looking little picture here. That said, it is in the flag pattern and it could resolve to the upside still. So, but just be cautious on this US 500. I'll just be a little bit cautious there. That does look a little bit tricky, a little bit off the end of the day. Yeah, where was that gap again? It was on Brent, eh? There we go. So, yeah, the Brent, you see there's a big gap that's developed here. Now, there was a lot of gaps in the market, and there'll be a few gaps elsewhere in the market, and it can be caused by events over the weekend, the change between Friday and Monday. Sometimes it can be new instruments that are brought out by the brokers. you know, when they roll over to new contracts and that sort of thing. But if they do that, they'll normally rectify your account. So if it's a broker that's moving your original contract over to a new contract, then they'll just rectify your account. So you shouldn't worry about that. But if it happens as a result of something that changed over the weekend, then it creates these big gaps, or over a couple of day or holiday or something like that. And gaps always get filled. The trouble with that statement, gaps always get filled, and I've got to be very careful how I say this, so that you guys don't get confused by it. What I mean when gaps always get filled, it doesn't mean they're going to get filled the next day, next hour, next week. This gap could get filled in a year's time. So be very careful of gaps. There is a saying in the market, the gaps always get filled, and it's true. The gap will always get filled. It's just a question of when. And that is sometimes a problem, particularly in a stock. For example, let's say Tesla had a gap in it. It could keep on going for a really long time. It could keep on going for 6 months and then come back and fill the gap. So be very careful of that. So yes, it will come back and fill the gap. It's just a question of when will it come back and actually fill that gap. So don't expect gaps to be filled immensely quick, but it will get filled, definitely. But when it comes to Brent, now Brent crude oil, for example, is now one of my favorites lately. And you have to understand that Brent, I've identified over the years that it trades between 65 and 120. Okay, that's it, end of story. It really never really goes much below that, never really goes much above that. That said, doesn't mean it can't change. It doesn't mean that things don't change in the market. It just means that for so many years, it's remained in that sort of area. So one thing I know with Brent is when it's at 70 bucks, it's a probably reasonably safe buy. And when it's at 90 bucks, it's probably a reasonably safe sell. So, and it stays in those levels because the monopolies kind of control it into those levels. The, what do they call those oil barons and whatnot? They've got a name for that as well. Fancy name. I'm just going to put a resistance in here. Let's see if we can identify a fair resistance level. It's not a really fair resistance level, eh? It's actually quite an interesting scenario that we've got here with Brent. You see, it's gone into this area, and this area is very much, that's your support. That's it, end of story. And then if you look at the top here, recently, I think it's about 82, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's 85, sorry, 86, 85. There is a level here of resistance, but there is also a level further down. Just be careful of that, around the 82, 81 level. But that's your oil, okay, and it kind of is trading in this range. So for me, if I look at oil, I'm kind of looking at it as somewhere down the line, it's probably going to go long from here. It'll most likely, if it comes out of the support, probably go long again and head back to the upside. So the short on Brent is gone, and it will fill that gap. So if you were to take a trade somewhere down here, you're probably going to get your money back around the 74 level quite easily. I think this gap will fill quite quickly. I don't see it taking forever. And all it takes is a little bit of geopolitics in the Middle East and stuff like that. And this oil price will probably go to the moon. It'll probably shoot up and become expensive. So that as well. While I'm on a meeting today, how do I go? I would like 15 minutes of time. Lawrence, just contact me when you can on messaging and whatnot on the Discord. The Discord link is, I think, in the system as well. Just contact me there and then we'll chat. There's no problem. Okay, that's fine. Just get hold of me on the Discord link for now. There is a link there. Okay. Shekels. Yeah. Okay, so I see Lawrence is in the meeting at the moment, so that's fine. It's difficult to call when I'm going to be available for people and when I'm going to be around and whatnot. There's a lot of other things that I keep myself busy with and I'm doing and what have you. For example, like yesterday, I was running around like a mad dog doing other things, getting things sorted out for other things and goodies and whatnot, not just trading. Today I got a computer to fix, it looks like. So I'll have to do that too. Yeah. Since one of them decided to give up the ghost. Probably a memory module. Normally the case when the power goes out. I tell you, these guys, these power suppliers just don't care. I mean, they were supposed to send a message out, planned maintenance, yeah, right. Yeah. This DAX is really doing well. Okay, that's great. That's so true, Daniel. I need my beach time too. I do a lot of beach time. Need my beach time, my restaurant time, my pub time. Yeah, no, totally. Pop down the pub, have a beer, have lunch, have fish and chips, enjoy. Absolutely. That's the way to live your life. Live your best life. As I always told my kids, live your best life. Don't go and work for a boss and stress out and let him tell you when to be at work and when not to be at work. That's always the worst case scenario. So I see gold is continuing to go up to the moon. So many people were telling me it's going to go short. And they might be right because there is a double top here now. But I kind of knew it was going to come out of here. It was obvious. So it did. Dixie's come back into level. It seems to be hitting this resistance and running out of steam. Guys, use this as an indicator. This is your dollar, right? So it's run into the resistance up here. So if you go and look at the euro US dollar and this long downtrend, there's a good chance that it might just turn around here. It is lying on a trend support, a strong trend support here. And it's broken out of the short-term trend line or trend resistance. So there's a good chance that it might go up and break this structure and start turning around and coming back. But let's just watch it and see what happens. But I think it might particularly happen if something maybe happens to the US 500 or something goes wrong in the world. I don't know. We might get some all-time highs on gold, depending on what happens in the world. We might. The American mayhem next week. Is it next week already? My goodness, time flies. Yeah, we shall see. We shall see what happens. You know, that's going to be, once again, another knee-jerk reaction. What we'll notice with news events in America, particularly, you know, the guys are calling economic events, they're calling like the elections and all these different types of scenarios. And effectively, it's just knee-jerk reactions. You know, they'll call it jobs figure or a CPI figure or whatever the case, or some Fed guy will give some meeting, and it just pushes the markets around up and down, left and right, which is good for volatility. But at the end of the day, it'll all settle back to where it was, because the price of stocks and the economy in any country is very much based on the money flow and the reserves. And you can't change that. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, it's not going to change that. There's just a bunch of powerful people with a lot of money, pro trading companies and things like that, and they're sitting there with huge sums of money, and they're actually saying to you, well, I'll tell you what, this is the way we believe the markets are going to go. And then everybody follows them. And soon afterwards, it all settles back to where it should be, because that's the way of the world. That's how it works. Yeah, it's not about an interest rate increase or interest rate decrease or the amount of jobs or anything like that. It's to do with how the money is flowing around in the country itself, how they're putting money into their government departments, how they're taking money out, how their money is moving around, and how the reserves are in the country. That makes all the difference at the end of the day to how the country's economy will run and how the stock market will run as well, which is why you'll often see that you'll get a news event that will give you some news and you'll think, why is it doing that? It's going totally the opposite way to what you would expect. And that's because it's not running on the news event, it's running on reality. And that's the problem. So don't get confused by news events. That's why I stopped bothering with news events, because all they'll actually do is drive you completely insane. That's what they're really good at. That's for sure. I've never seen anything like it, to be quite honest with you. The news events driving you completely insane. So the Nikkei, I want to talk about this as well. One of you guys, I'm not sure if you're here on the live show, you had a Nikkei long trade, which I think we did call last week. We called the Nikkei for a long trade, and it got stopped out because you kept it over the weekend. Now, it's not your fault for keeping it over the weekend. It happens. But it's probably one of the worst things that can happen to you is this particular bar here is where you got stopped out. So you put your stop loss in the correct place. You put it at invalidation, which is maybe 37.5, and you think, well, it's pretty safe there because, I mean, the price is up here somewhere, and we're in a good long trade. And then something happens over the weekend, either with your broker or the news or whatever the case. And on Monday morning, it opens down here because of all the orders. Maybe some big institution put orders in or something to that effect. And it stops you out. It stops out your stop loss at this level. And then it goes in the correct direction. That's probably worse than actually losing money, than actually, or taking a stop and just letting the thing go. This is probably one of the most psychologically painful trades to happen, is where it takes out your stop loss, immediately turns around and goes the other way. That is actually quite horrific. So a good idea to avoid this is, if you are going to hold a trade over the weekend, is to take your automated stop loss out on Monday morning and just not get caught out by this, because, you know, this is just orders that are sitting around in the market, and the thing opens up and these orders start getting taken. And then there's oftentimes some extreme orders. And if there's not enough money in the market yet, it's going to go and take that order, and it's going to take yours as well. And that's what causes this kind of scenario. So if you're not expecting the market to crash on Monday morning, and you're not expecting it to take your stop loss out, it might be a good idea just to move your stop loss away so that you don't get caught out by that nasty thing. Distraction. Hello from Sydney. Have you covered our US dollar yet? Okay, let's gold. We've covered gold, but that's cool. Let's have a look at it on the funded trader account. There you go. And you can have a look at it from here and just see what we've got. It's always interesting. And can I actually... Yes, I can remove that. There we go. Let's have a look here. Let's remove that. Here's gold. And we had a look at it over here a few moments ago, right? And we determined that that level was there, and it is continuing on to the long side. Lots of people have called this short, but, you know, I understand why. I mean, there is a double top that's developing at the top here, and it could cause us a little bit of a headache. I get that. But, and look there, that's that little double top on the 4-hour chart. But if you look at this on the daily chart, you've got a slightly stronger picture. And you can clearly see here that it's in a strong bullish uptrend, and it's in structure. Up she goes, down, up she goes. So I don't see it coming down anytime soon, barring something happening. But even then, if I look at the structure and I look at what it's doing, I got to say, you know, even with the geopolitics going on around the world and that sort of thing, if something was to cause the US 500 or the S&P to crash, gold normally becomes a pretty good safe haven. So while I've seen in market crashes that gold does take a knock, it's actually a good place where that's normally where people head with their money when things go wrong. So yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that it's running so hard when the market's going so well. But that said, it is a good long trade, but not just yet. I would wait just a little bit. I'd wait for it just to correct a little bit again. Or if it breaks above this double top here, breaks above this level, breaks above that high, then it will go and achieve new highs. That said, if something goes wrong, then it could come all the way down to here, but it's definitely not short. Definitely not short, because this has not broken structure. This is in a very strong bullish structure. Okay. So I'll just always look at the daily if you're not sure. You know, it's just one of those things that you can do. The only reason I'm using this chart is because it's so easy. If you just look at the daily, it sort of gives you a sort of overall picture of what's actually happening in the market, and you get a bigger picture of what's going down, and you're sort of like, okay, now I see the picture. Now you can go back to your wee 4-hour chart and play around there and do whatever you need to do on your shorter time frame. Some of you might be trading 1 hour. It's the same thing. Just go and look at the daily and then just bring it back to a level that makes more sense. And then you can see what's going on. So yeah, gold definitely long. It'll only be short if it breaks below this low here, which is at about 27. So you can't really go short on gold unless it drops below 27, which is a long way down. And if it reaches 27, it's probably going to go long again. So there's not much of a trade waiting for you at the moment there. You need it to do something before you can actually get in. Taking a trade from this point is risky because of that top. So you need to wait for it just to break above that before you can actually get in. Yeah, and then you've got NFP. Yeah, well said, Luno. Yeah, welcome. Haven't seen you for a while. Yeah. Are you looking for the retest? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So here you say you're short on gold at the moment. I know a lot of guys called short. Be careful of how can I put it in the markets? I mean, I also give ideas in the market and say, yeah, you know, we're going short, we're going long, trade of the day, that sort of thing. But be careful of taking other people's trades. Do your own research. It's important, okay? Learn how to do it yourself. And if you're not comfortable with it, then don't trust in what everybody else is saying. A lot of people, what they have in the market is, as you have heard me call it, it's called the supermarket mentality, where if something's expensive, it must go down. And that's not true. If something's expensive in the markets, it means the opposite. It means it's good and it's a really valuable buy. And if something's cheap in the markets, it means it's bad and it's a really good idea to sell it. So it doesn't work like the supermarket. When you walk into a supermarket and if it's cheap, you've got to buy them all. That's completely the opposite in the markets. So be very careful of that. If something is expensive like this, it doesn't mean that it's going to go down. Gold was expensive when it was at 2,000 and now it's at 2,750, right? That's the problem with the supermarket mentality. Now this could go all the way to 3,000. You don't know. We don't know. We are predicting a market based on the probabilities that happened in the past. That's how we predict our buys and sells. We look at what happened in the past. We say, well, that might happen again. And that's what gives us the edge in the market to say, well, it'll probably go up again. The only thing we can do in the market, because it's a 50-50 game, is look at the probabilities and then manage our risk around those probabilities. And that's how the psychology works behind the whole system. So calling this short at the moment, you're in a very precarious, dangerous spot. Because if this breaks above those highs, and also, Sophia, look at this. This has only developed the double top now. It didn't develop the double top days ago, or it only developed it now. So, you know, you might hit a luck and it might come back and retrace, but this could break through. This could easily break through and go north. And that could hurt you if you are short, because this could go north. If it breaks through here, it could go north very quickly to 2,800. So just be careful of it. Just be very, very careful of it if you are short. 38 pips to the low. Yeah, you're probably right. Okay. So be aware. don't, I don't know where you might have taken the short in this area here, but also too early to take a short there because it hadn't broken structure. You've got to wait for these, when we take counter trades, you've got to wait for the price to break structure. You've got to wait for structure to break when you take counter trades. Counter trading is all about it breaking structure. You can get lucky in many cases, but you have to wait for the structure to break. Okay, Sophia, don't hold me to it now. If it all goes wrong, and if this thing goes down to 2,500, you're going to be so mad at me. Don't blame me. But yes, I'm just saying, guys, if you want to go short on gold, you have to wait for this to break structure before you can go short, because structure is not broken. So even if you did hold on to it and it went a little bit short now, it's probably going to turn and go long in any event. So watch out for that. Okay, so what do you say? Sell high, buy low is not working with gold. At 5K, gold is still undervalued, possibly reevaluation soon. And yeah, if you're looking at it that way, I mean, it's just a different way of looking at it. You're either reading a chart or you're looking at valuations and that sort of thing. And if you're a kind of trader who looks at valuations on products, for example, shares, for example, gold, whatever the case, then yeah, you can look at that and say, well, it should be valued at that. And I'm going to base my whole valuation, my whole trade on that. Just be very careful of one thing. I've seen where things are valued a certain way and they never quite reach those valuations. But yeah, no, I get it totally. Look, what I'm looking at with gold is it's simply bullish. It's such a strong bullish run, and I don't want to bet against it. It's as simple as that. I just do not want to bet against it. And even Brent, for example, now, for me to go long on Brent now is just a ridiculous trade. It's a counter trade, but it's a gamble because look at it. It's solid short at the moment. It's going down. You have to wait for it to start breaking trend before you can actually, go long on that particular trade as well. There's so many cases like this. This euro US dollar. If I look at this, I mean, I'm saying to myself, I'm looking at the Dixie and saying, well, look at that double top and its hit resistance. There's a good chance this thing's going to roll over. But that would say the euro US dollar is going to roll up. It's going to do well. But you haven't broken structure yet. You're sitting on a double top here where it could continue on down. So what I'm waiting for is a solid bit of information that says to me, okay, you know what, this is going long now. And then you can go for that. Sophia, always appreciate. Yeah, no, totally. Like I said to you, it goes the other way. Damn. Matthew, yes, I don't mind you asking again. That's totally fine. Hi, Rob. You may have answered this already. Do you leave trades open over the weekend? And yes, Matthew, I have actually answered it a million times, and I'm going to answer it again for you because you asked, and that's nothing wrong. There's no silly question. It's a good question, and it's an important question. Do you leave your trades open over the weekend? Okay, so for those of you that know me, my investments stay open forever, which is investments in shares, right? Whatever they are. And it's normally like some shopping, retail, and some banks and some commodity thing, and a bit this and the other. It's a bit of a mishmash of trades that I invest in every single month. So that will stay open forever. So let's not talk about shares. But when you talk about indexes, when you talk about Forex and you talk about commodities, yep, we try and close them as often as possible for the weekend. And the reason for that, Matthew, is so many things happen on the weekend. In my 30 years of trading, all the years that I've been trading, most of the events that have happened in the world have normally maybe started happening on the Friday, but over the weekend they take you by surprise. And Monday morning, you get those big gaps that we were talking about earlier. You wake up and things have opened in a completely different level. So what I'm looking at is a scenario of weekends where all indexes where possible you close. If you can close an index, close it. I will take a gamble if it's short, because there's not much that can really happen geopolitically or in the world that will make it go immensely long on Monday, or turn it around so massively on Monday that it's going to go to the moon. I don't think I've even seen an event like that. But when you long on trades like indexes, then I like to close them out for the weekend, because you just never know what's coming on Monday morning. I will take the odd gamble on a Forex here and there, but very odd, not always. So on a Forex trade, if it's looking good and the world doesn't look like it's going to end over the weekend, I may take a little bit of a gamble on a Forex trade that's sitting open, but very seldom. But I do like to close them out as well. And the commodities in general, most definitely try and close them out if you can. But that said, like gold, for example, if you're invested in gold and you're holding it for the long term, it depends how you've invested in it. What I talk about closing for the weekend, I'm talking about geared trading. I'm talking about futures, contracts for difference, Forex, and that sort of thing, where you got 10-to-1 funding on the products. But if you've got a exchange traded fund or an ETF or something like that, where you've got the full amount invested and you're invested in something like gold or something like that, then no, that you can keep. Or even if you're invested in an index on an ETF, that's like investing in stocks. You just leave it and don't worry about it too much. But I'm talking about geared trading, because the reason I trade out of geared products over the weekend is because that gap on Monday can be horrifying. And I've seen it clean out some of the best traders in the world. I've seen it clean out some good friends. I've seen it clean out people so quickly that were so well off. And Monday morning, it's big trouble. Calling you and with a margin call, where's the money? That sort of thing. And the guys, because they're such big traders with the broker, they're trying to get some leeway, and they're calling for more credit. And guys, it's horrible to see. It's horrific. So be very careful of that. I used to, Lawrence, trade shares, position trade those shares. And then I sort of learned in the market, I wouldn't say not worth it, but with shares, it's more about time in the market than timing the market. So in other words, shares I leave in an investment portfolio at all times. I buy a share, I forget about it. Half the time I don't even know how much or what I own. I'll just go back and look at the portfolio every once a month. Once a month I throw in some more money and I add it to a few of the trades that I feel, or investments that I feel are worth it. And I leave it and I get paid dividends and it goes up and I forget about it. That's how I work with shares. I went through a long period in my career where I position traded shares. I position traded them heavily. That was way back when, before all these fancy systems and all that came out. I used to just position trade shares. In fact, I didn't even do indexes and Forex and that sort of stuff. I was always just into shares. And it was actually nice position trading shares, and it is something you can do. But from my personal perspective, I just now treat shares as something that I buy, hold, and keep. I see it as being a shareholder in the company, or whatever the case. That's more my mentality. And I find that trading is more advantageous on indexes, Forex, and commodities, because they move quicker and you can do something with that. That's why I'm in that sort of game with that. Crap happens on weekends, causes people to have time to cause crap on the weekends. Daniel, it always happens on the weekends. Okay, meant to say break, not break. Yeah, there's two different breaks, eh? What's the break for tea or lunch? It's the BREAK. Yeah, that's right. The one on your car is the BRAKE. Yeah, and yeah, no, totally depends on leverage. Yes, blood, totally. The leverage is the big thing. Yeah, you know, if you've got leveraged instruments, you don't want to be sitting on them in a period where things could go wrong, because that's where the money goes wrong. You see, that's the point. The money goes wrong because it's leveraged, because you're trading with borrowed money effectively. So you take a $100,000 trade with $10,000. So you put up $10,000 and you're taking a $100,000 trade. You're putting up 10% of the trade. So if the trade loses 10%, you lose all your money. That's effectively how the thing works. And you know, if you want to leave that to chance, then that's where the problems come in and the mistakes come in. The big problem you've got over the weekend, guys, is your stops don't get taken out. There's no such thing as a guaranteed stop. And what actually happens when your stop doesn't get taken out is you come along on Monday morning, and now let's say your entire wealth is $10,000. I'm just saying that, okay? I'm just saying that as an example. And you've taken a $100,000 trade. So Monday morning comes along and there's been a market crash over the weekend, and all the orders are in place because all the big institutions, you know, they can get in before you can, right? Their orders are in before yours. And you come along and the market starts trading at about $50,000 below, right? Effectively, your $10,000 is gone, plus another $40,000 that you don't have, and you owe that to the broker. Think about that. The broker's going to call you and say, where's my 40 grand? I want it. So yeah, if you don't have the money to do it, don't do it. Be careful of that. Close your trades down on Friday afternoon, come back on Monday and start again. It's simple as that. And keep your stop losses at 1% on every single trade. And if you take 10 trades, it's 10% of your account and you're protected. Don't rely on someone telling you, oh, we've got guaranteed stops. Yeah, no, they're only guaranteed until they're not. Because how can they guarantee you a stop on a product that's running wild over the weekend? I don't know. It doesn't sound fair to me. So be very careful of that, guys. Be extremely, extremely careful of that scenario. It's not as simple as it seems. So yeah, the one thing I like about this Funded Trader account now as well is that they've added Trading View to the platform on this Max Trader platform. And it makes it a bit easier to do your research on this platform as well if you want to now. So yeah, that's actually quite cool, actually. It's not bad at all. Quite like that. And we've still got the account open. And we'll make a couple of profits and a couple of losses. And it's actually fun just to keep it open. And these guys are actually quite interesting. Funded Trader Markets. There's the costs. This has gone down, I think. Yeah, $109. Okay. So there's your max overall drawdowns on a funded account. And this is why I never got into funded trading until you guys came along. And, you know, you've got a max drawdown of 6% and a max daily drawdown of 4%. So what I worked out with that on the funded account, guys, is effectively I can't take 10 trades. I can take 3, 4, 5 trades. For the daily drawdown. The daily drawdown is 4%. So I try to maximize these trades out at 4 at a $250 stop loss on each one. But now I can actually take another 4 trades on here because I've got this stop loss at cost. So I could actually take another 4 trades on here now. But I'm not going to force any trades now because you wait for the trades to come to you. You don't chase the trades. So just for interest's sake, guys, that's something you can do with a Funded Trader account is if you get one trade, and you move it, the stop loss to cost, that this trade's now costing you nothing. Now you can now add another 4 trades if you need to. It's much better with a cash account because there you can add your whole 10 trades if you want to, and you can, you're risking 10% of your account effectively, which is also a better scenario. So now it's interesting to see. Let's see what happens with this US 500. Let's see if it bounces to the upside or if it breaks down to the downside. See what it does. See if it goes down. Okay. I may have missed it, but have you... No, my funded account is in a challenge phase. Sophie, I took this because the guy said that you can't trade a funded trader account with our system, with our tortoise-like system, where you can only trade these things on 5-minute charts and 10-minute charts and the stop losses and all the rest of it. So I actually took this thing just to prove that you can actually trade a funded trader account on our system, but it's not going to be successful very quickly because you can't take 1 million trades with it. So this is actually, it even says demo here, but it's not a demo. It's phase 1. It's a challenge account. You have to pass the challenge and then you move on to the next thing. But it isn't my fault at the end of the day, because in the beginning I really didn't pay a lot of attention to this. Because you're paying attention to your real money, you're not paying attention to this, and I'm not really seeing this yet as real money. But okay, it's there. We are gonna somehow or another get this through and get the challenge passed, and I'm gonna work on it. But I'm actually just quite enjoying keeping it open for the time being, and then let it run. It's in a bit of a loss at the moment, so yeah, we're not going to get approved today, that's for sure. But I've had it open for quite a while for us, and we're having fun with it. So, yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm not too concerned about it getting it passed, and it doesn't mean that much to me because my earnings come from elsewhere. So, I'm actually doing it more for us, to see if we can make it work, and if it'll fail or if it'll pass or how it'll go, and yeah, and if it's possible to do anything with it. Because you see where it restricts me, it's a much smaller account, and obviously it's also, you're only allowed 4% drawdown per day and 6% overall, and you have to work it a completely different way. But psychology kind of remains the same. It doesn't change that much. So I just have to make sure that the account doesn't get wiped out, that's all. Yeah, somewhere down the line we'll get it sorted out, Sophia. We'll get it passed. We'll get it making some money or doing something. But yeah, like I say, it's just a challenge account at the moment. Once it passes, somewhere down the line they give you a real account. I don't even know how much, actually. I haven't checked. Yeah, funded account is great trading, and it's good for the group. As a group, we can play with it, and we can work with it, and we can train together and work on it and what have you, and it's fun. So the other problem is a bit of a restriction here on the amount of instruments that are available as well. The other day I wanted to do something with a South African top 40, I think it was. We've got the ZAR, so it must have been the top 40, and the instrument wasn't available. So that, that as well. So sometimes I'll be taking a trade on this side, and then I'll go look for the instrument on this side, and it's not there. So you kind of limited a little bit on the instruments that are available. That might have something to do with it being a challenge account, not the approved account, or whatever the case. But yeah, I don't know. But there are some restrictions that I found, or some things that have been a little bit tricky with the funded account to get it to be profitable, to work and what have you. But it's not that bad. You can work around it, and somewhere down the line you can make some money with it and make it profitable. So like I said, on the funded account, I've actually moved the stop loss up to cost. So if there's any other trades that come available, we can add them in. And that's another way of running a funded trader account. If you can move your stop losses up to cost, because you're in profit on one, then you can start adding the other trades in, so you can risk more. It's the risk that's the big issue on the funded trader accounts, the amount of risk that you can take. Whereas on your cash accounts, you can take a lot more risk. Okay. By the way, I'm loving that we get to see how it works. Thank you for sharing. It's a pleasure, Sophia. I would not have done the same analysis on your trade of the day, Aussie dollar, US dollar. The reason is that my daily SR zones are drawn in different areas to yours. Any thoughts on this? That's interesting, Chris. Have I drawn my areas in the wrong place? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, let's go to the Aussie dollar, US dollar for Chris here. And let's just have a look at what we've got, right? Take it to the line chart. Now, my resistance area is drawn in there because that's about the best resistance area I can get. You're not going to get much better than that unless you draw it much closer, which is further down here. That's also fine. You can do that too. But at the bottom, okay, at the bottom, you can draw a resistance, a support in right at the bottom here, which is probably where you've drawn yours in. I don't see that you might not have, but that's an area you could have drawn another resistance in. But what you've got is that is another support. It's just another support, which we probably will have to draw in because it's broken through over there. So now we can actually draw that one in as well, but it's very close. Perhaps a little bit too close, but it's very close, right? So it's come down, hit that. It's come down, hit that. It's gone through a little bit there. It's come down, hit that, come down, hit that. So there's another support in there. But this is a support because it's come down, hit it, come down, hit it, come down, hit it, come down, broke through, gone back up, hit it again, come down, hit it. It's breaking through a mid support level, and it is a big support level. It goes all the way back up to there. You see it's hit there, hit there, hit there, hit there, hit there, hit there, hit there. It's hit a number of times based on my analysis. So let me just draw this back so you can see. It goes all the way back to there. So that support level is not weak. It's a strong support level, and that's why it's in there. So you've got another support level further down, but that one is in there. And even if it wasn't in there, it's still on the downward trajectory. So there's nothing above that. Above that is resistance, not support. Okay. Now we go back to the candles. Now you look at the picture on the daily chart. Look at this daily picture. It's gone up structure, gone up, come down, broken structure, and it's come all the way down. Now, wait, there's a helicopter going by, so this could be tricky. It's gone. Right, apocalypse now. So many things going on at the moment, eh? Right, so now you've got this. It's hit resistance. It's come back down. It's broken through this support level in the middle here. And it's continuing on to the main, which is now we've drawn another one in. There's another main support level at the bottom. So now we've got an extra support level where we know where it could reach and head to. It probably won't get much further than that because you can see there's quite a few tails down here of where they did try and didn't get much further than that. So the call is for it to go short based on that. And then if we take it back to the 4-hour chart, you can have a look at the analysis here. Now it's coming back to retest, and then you're probably going to get a nice long trade, a short trade coming back out of this retest. Why would we call it a retest? Look at the 4-hour. Just out of interest, guys, look at that. Okay. Look at that little resistance area. This is your structure to the downside on the 4-hour. It could even reach that structure and then come down. So in other words, this arrow could even go a little bit higher. Well, it doesn't want to now because I'm playing with lines, but it could even do that. Not to say that it won't. There's a lot of confluence here. Look at this. It could even do that. So then you've got this, come back, retest, and go down. This is in a strong bearish trend. But when it gets down to the support down here, the lower support, then you're going to hit a little bit of an issue, most likely. So, Chris, yeah, does that clear that up for you? Does that make it a little bit, I don't know where you've drawn your lines in, and I'm not exactly sure why, but it is just that's how the markets work. And don't miss out these levels in between. Don't negate these, because they're quite important. I mean, we go back to the day again. I just want to say, don't miss this, because you can see it's hit this level quite a number of times. Try not to miss these out, because they are closer to your price. So if the price was up here and you're drawing it all the way at the bottom, there's nothing wrong with that. But try not to miss these ones in between, because they are there and they do make a difference to the whole trade at the end of the day. And then, of course, you can always draw your confluence line in, your trend resistance, which is there, and it's going back to retest, and it's going to come out and go. Yeah, it does look like a reasonably good trade. Now you just got to wait for a nice red candle coming out of this lot and giving us a clear indication that we can go short. When I say trade of the day, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to play out today. It might play out tomorrow. It might play out tonight. It's just something that I've spotted, something that I'm looking at taking for myself, and it might be an idea for you to look at as well. So that's and it's also to help you guys learn and figure out the markets and figure out how it all comes together at the end of the day. For example, and there's some things that I do that will maybe confuse you guys, and I don't mean to do that. I try not to do that. But for example, I might take a trade on a trend support without waiting for the green candle, say. And of course, that is going against what I always tell you guys. I always tell you, wait for the green candle to close before you take your trade. Now, that will apply when it comes to a flat support like this. That will apply. Always wait for it to come out and give you a green candle. But on a trend support, you can look at it in a slightly different light, because if you take it to a line chart, what you're looking for, you see how many times it keeps hitting this trend support. So that tells you that that's like a barrier. It's like a force field. So if there was no candles, I'd be taking that trade long anyway. So that's sometimes why it's a feeling in the market, because you've been doing it for so long that you don't need specific rules. You're kind of just looking at it and thinking, because in the old days when I traded without computers, we didn't have candles. We used lines, and this was it. This is what we had to look at. And I would have taken that trade long every single day. So be careful of over-complicating it and over-confusing yourself. So on a trend, if I see something like that, there's a really good chance that I'm going to pop the trade in and take the trade. I don't mean to confuse you guys with that. I'm just like saying to you guys that if I see that, I might just do that. It's because of a feeling. A lot of my trading is done with what I see, pictures that I've seen before. And your brain does that. Your brain's seen things in the past, and it sort of replays it to the future, and you just do things. That's something you learn as you go. Okay. If you're trading on a trend line, you only need 3 touch points, Lawrence. You need 3 touch points for it to be a trend. But once again, this is where experience in the market plays in. I'll sometimes draw a trend line when it's only touched twice, or because I can see the trend, I can see where it's going, and I can see the gap. But the general rule of thumb is you need 3 touch points for it to be a trend. So you need 3 areas of confluence for it to be a trend. But I will sometimes draw a trend in with no touch points. I just know that that's a trend and that's where it's going. But it's a question of what your brain has seen before, and you're seeing the same picture redevelop over again, and you're looking at that and thinking, that looks familiar. So yeah, but if you haven't seen it before, general rule of thumb, 3 touch points will give you a trend. 3 or more closing prices. So Lawrence, you just take it to a line chart, and you need 3 of these closing prices. They don't have to be exact. If there's a tiny gap like that, it's okay. But what you're looking for is, on a trend, you're looking for closing price, closing price, closing price, closing price. You know, you're looking for those closing prices to touch, and then you can draw your trends across those, and then you get your trends. Sometimes you'll get ascending triangles, descending triangles, or those kinds of shapes, and those also play into the market. You can download a little page on the internet. It'll explain to you how those normally resolve, which way they go, and that sort of thing. But yeah, if you're drawing trend, always closing prices. Don't use highs and lows. These tails are your sellers and buyers getting back in and out of the market. And it's just the highs and lows of the day. What you're actually looking for to draw a proper line in is closing prices. And if you've got lots of closing prices in those areas, you can use those to draw your lines in. Okay, that's a 4-hour chart. I'll normally draw it in on a day chart, but you can draw them in on the lower time frames as well. Trends are your friend, and if you're working in trends, they tend to normally play out, which is quite good. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, there you go. That all makes sense. As long as it makes sense, that's what's important. So, yeah, as I said, yeah, hopefully I don't get any more of those comments later on today where assumption is the mother of all evil. I don't know if you guys were around when I said earlier, this guy commented this morning that why have you only got 6,000 subs and why aren't you showing your millions if you're such an old pro trader? And I looked at that and thought, what an idiot. Why would anyone ask that question? The 6,000 subs have got to do with the YouTube channel. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, nobody wants to hear that you're not going to make $1 million this week. They all want to hear that you're going to be a millionaire overnight. They don't want to hear that you're actually going to have to do some work. You're actually going to learn how to trade. You're actually going to have to figure this out and make it a career. And you're actually going to have to do it. But the reason you do it is because you love doing it and because you can live your best life doing it. That's why you trade. If you look at it that way, you'll become a successful trader. If you're trying to make $1 million in a week, you're in the wrong game. You need to go down the casino and put it all on black or put it all on red or something and see what happens. Then maybe that'll work. But this is a career. This is something you learn to do. And if you think that pro traders just sit there and make millions every day, think again. Think again. Pro traders do not sit there in their offices. And then you've got to ask yourself the question, why are there so many pro traders who work for big companies like Goldman Sachs and BlackRock and these types of guys sitting at trading desks? Why are they sitting there? Why aren't they sitting at home trading like we are, retail traders? That's because they're getting paid humongous salaries for being qualified pro traders. That's why they're sitting there, because they understand that it's really difficult to just make millions in a day or a week. Okay? You can make a good living, you can make good wealth, you can invest and you can make good money. But if you think you're going to throw some money in the market today and drive a Lamborghini next week, you're in the wrong place. You need to go to the casino. That's where you need to be. That's what people don't want to hear. People don't want to hear that. And when I saw that comment, I thought, clearly this guy hasn't watched my videos. Clearly he doesn't know what he's talking about. And I don't understand why he would even comment that, to be quite honest with you. And as I said to him in the comment, my wealth has got nothing to do with you whatsoever. And it would make no difference whether I was rich, poor, or mediocre, whether you would become a successful trader or not. But that said, like I said to him, I could buy and sell you if I wanted to. But that's between me and him. Yeah, there are many successful traders that don't have an Instagram and YouTube channel. You're quite right, Lawrence. And you know, there was a long time that I didn't have a proper. I wasn't doing this anyway. I was doing other things, and I mean, showing this on YouTube and what have you. I decided to make a couple of videos because I knew how to make a couple of videos because I'd done it for other things. And I thought, oh, I'll make a video and I'll explain to you guys that you're not going to make $1 million in a day. And it actually turned into this, which is excellent. I'm actually really glad. I'm enjoying doing YouTube. I'm learning a lot of new things. and it's fun, let's say. And I'm doing it because it's fun. I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy teaching people. I enjoyed showing my friends how to trade. You know how many of my friends would come around, and you'll find this when you guys are in there and you're trading, and all your friends know that you're trading, and they'll be interested. They'll all be interested. You'll be surprised how many people are actually interested in what you're doing, and how do you trade, and you can sit and teach them to trade. But not many of your friends will have the time to sit with you and learn how to trade because they're all working or doing their own thing and they've got lives. But I once or twice had a few WhatsApp groups and what have you with my friends that were trading, and we would banter between us and what have you. At one time, I had a next door neighbor that was trading. That was even more fun because we would get together and we would trade, and then we would go and play squash, and then we would come back and trade, and that was good fun. That was back in the day. Yeah, the reason we trade is because we enjoy it and because you can live your best life with it. The reason I have YouTube is because I'm enjoying it, I'm having fun, and I love showing people what to do. And I'm, quite frankly, making quite a lot of new friends here. Yeah, just choose up or down, pocket trade. I'm glad you can tell I enjoy it, Sophie. Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, it's good. No, I love this sort of thing, and I love doing that. A new challenge is always good for me as well. And yeah, and it's good to have people around when you're trading. You know, that's another thing, Daniel, that you just said now we enjoy trading with you too. One of the loneliest jobs in the world is trading, if you're trading on your own. It's one of the loneliest jobs in the world. I can tell you something. This is one of the reasons I got into a number of other businesses through my life, is because when you sit and you trade by yourself, wow, it can get so lonely, and so you can get very sort of closed into your own world, and making decisions can become difficult because you know you're the only one that can make the decision at the end of the day. And when if you're taking a loss or something's going bad, it's difficult. And if something's going good, I mean, you want to relay it off onto someone, and there's no one there. You know, there's no one to celebrate with. It can be quite daunting. So the downside to trading is it can be very, very lonely, guys. It can be an extremely lonely place. So watch out for that as well. Yeah. Yeah, Lawrence, do something techy. You know what? I love tech. It's quite cool. You'll be surprised to know that there was a stage in my life where I actually owned 2 computer stores, but I knew nothing about tech. I employed people to do it for me. But yeah, I dumped that after a while. But it was fun having it, I must say. I love tech. I love tech. I got involved in it. You know, I used to dream when I first started trading, and we didn't have all this. I used to dream of having this ability to just click a button and make a trade online. I mean, I used to have to pick up the telephone, and we literally had dial telephones and phone the broker and say, could you buy and sell this for me, or whatever the case. And you had to hang on for him. And no, I dreamed of this. Let me tell you, it was like, I used to think that would be so cool. And now we've got it all at our fingertips. Amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Not only on a PC, but on a cell phone, on a mobile phone. Incredible stuff. I love it. And it can only get better, to be honest with you. And of course, the YouTube thing and this fancy, well, this microphone thing. I had to put it here, guys, because I had a few issues, like I said yesterday and the day before. So now I might use this. It's actually quite nice. It's quite cool. And yeah, I might actually put that in the videos now if it works out. I just want to check how the sound is and everything. I haven't done much testing on the sound, to be honest with you. In the next video you're going to see, you might actually see me holding a microphone. Yes, that was another thing that I had to do. Yeah, things went rather dicey. Yeah. We are the resistance, yeah. We are, Daniel. We are the resistance. We are doing our thing and changing the world accordingly. Can't just leave the world to the kids, man. What's this SA40 doing? The SA40, the South African top 40, keep your eyes on it. because even though there's a double top here, and even though it does look like it's kind of hitting its resistance, there's rumors that South Africa is going to be upgraded financially. Maybe because of the government of national unity here, maybe because things are looking a bit better, maybe because we've got electricity. But they are looking at an upgrade for South Africa, which would be very, very positive for South Africa. And it could sort of send this upwards. So just keep an eye on that, guys. Keep an eye on that. But that said, then also keep an eye on the US dollars ZAR to go the other way. It could also send the ZAR into strength. Morning, Jed. Hey, good to see you, man. Bit late, John. Been going now for quite a while. So, in fact, you've probably come in closer to the end of the show than closer to the beginning of the show, but that doesn't matter. I'll carry on for a little while longer. I'm enjoying myself. It's gold, bling, bling. We are there. Gold. That's totally gold. Gold, bling, bling. Yeah, so just a quick heads up on South Africa, top 40 and news. Like I said, I don't normally trade into the news, but if news like that is hanging about, you can't ignore it. You know what I mean? It's there. So, and yeah, don't forget, I never ask you guys to like or subscribe or anything like that, but yeah, do that. Go for it. Like and subscribe. It helps the channel, I suppose. And I'm sure the channel will grow on its own and what have you. Unlike that guy in the comment this morning was asking me, why do you only have 6,000 subs if you're so good? Yeah, well, it takes time, eh? Yeah, thanks, Jed. Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, a bit of a like. It tells YouTube that the channel's not that bad after all and whatnot. If I was to sit here trading on 5-minute charts and making all kinds of stories up for you guys that you can drive a Lamborghini and money coming out the sky and whatnot, I'm probably sure we'd have thousands of viewers and thousands of likes and thousands of people here. I just can't do it. I'm just not that person. I just don't have it in me to do it. And I just don't think I will ever do that. So let's not do that, eh? I'm planning to actually buy today on the McDonald's, Jed. I'm actually looking at that. I was moving some money over to the US and I was waiting for that. So, but yeah, I was actually looking at that. I was looking at that for a buy. So thanks for reminding me, by the way, because I actually forgot this morning. I was literally planning to get in there and get some more. Yeah, cool. Let's do that. I was actually going to have a look at how the portfolio is doing these days. Oh, it's a good idea. Absolutely good idea. And then earnings today. Also with at least McDonald's pays a dividend. The trouble with the American shares, they don't pay big dividends. Their percentage is a bit low, but it's okay. They do well. And thanks, Sophia. I appreciate that. Thanks. That's good. South African 40 might go up because Magnus High is being positive. Yeah, you make a good point. But yeah, like I said, I do believe there's going to be an upgrade as well. So that could actually push it through the 80,000 though. It could actually push it through and send it on the upward side. I was actually hoping that it might just give us a little bit of a sort of drop off here before we get the news and then head off onto the long side. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have it on this funded account. We don't have it here. So we can't trade it here together, guys. I did look for it last time and I couldn't find it under any circumstance. So we can't put it on the funded account. So we can only trade it on the other side. That's okay. It's one of those things. All my other accounts have got the SA40 on, obviously, because they're South African accounts. But this funded account doesn't have it on. Oh, well, that's life. Is Google on today? Okay, that's interesting. I'm glad you've made some money there, Sophia. That's fantastic. That's a good one. There you go. Marvelous stuff. Guys, I'm not going to be right every time. And you guys know that. like I always tell you guys, it's a 50-50 game. 50% of the time you're right, 50% of the time you're wrong. Lawrence, what's your take on Pick and Pay? Lawrence, I will not touch a Pick and Pay with your money or my money. I believe that Pick and Pay is in big trouble. The old man's come back, Sean Summers, has come back to try and run it, but he doesn't even understand the technology that well. Look, at the end of the day, ShopRite Checkers is absolutely destroying, they're taking the market by storm. Let's be honest, they're cleaning up. But if you're looking for a good retail trade, Lawrence, and this is my pick, and this is what I'm doing, as I'm moving money into SPAR. Because if you just go to the shops and you look at what's happening with SPAR, they're improving immensely. They are so close to becoming a Woolworths. It's unbelievable. I mean, their quality, their style, their takeaway sections, their service, everything is improving. They're going so well. So I'm actually looking at taking a large chunk of money and putting it into SPAR, to be perfectly honest with you. It's at a reasonable price at the moment. And so, yeah, if you're looking for a retail trade that's going to pay off in the long run over time, equity trade and investment, I'm looking at SPAR from my side. Pick and Pay, it's a falling knife, dude. It's done. I'm actually scared that they're going to close, which would be disastrous for everyone, to be honest with you. I really hope that they can hold it together and they can keep it going. I'm hoping and praying, because it would be just horrible to see them go. But yeah, no, they're in trouble, dude. They're in big, big, big trouble. Don't buy Pick and Pay. Okay, so yeah. You liking the DAX trade? Yeah, look, there's the DAX, dude. Can't complain, eh? I don't know why I took such a small trade there, but on the funded account, we took the DAX as well, and it's doing pretty well. I've moved the stop loss up to cost there, Jed. As I told everybody earlier, I've taken the stop loss up to cost, so nothing to lose, only profit to make. Maybe we'll move it up a little bit. If it breaks that high, maybe we should even add to the trade. Let's just see how we go. We'll see how that goes today. See which way it goes. Hopefully it doesn't go against us, but we've actually even put that one into a decent position. Okay. McDonald's pre-market, I believe. Okay, cool. Lawrence showed him. Okay, yes. Cool, last week's high at 680. Okay, ish. Yeah, no, ish. That's a big word there in South Africa. Ish. Ish. Yeah, no, we're good. Okay, so, all right, guys, we've been around for quite a long time this morning. I'm actually going to head off, and I'm going to go and fix that one linen computer that broke thanks to the electricity failure yesterday. Probably going to have to change the memory module or whatever in there so I can get that running again, because I like all my stuff to be running. I only run on 3 screens. I'll actually show you the setup sometime, but then I must move the cameras around and what have you. But I do like to run a couple of computers and for different things and what have you. So yeah, especially with the YouTube thing going on as well and everything now. So I'll have to fix that computer and get it going and get it working again. I didn't enjoy coming in this morning and finding that one not working. All right, so guys, I want to thank you for being here. I'm going to head on my way now and go and get that sorted out. And Jed, yeah, do catch me Thursday. Thursday will be on the USA session in the afternoon here in South Africa. In the morning in the USA, obviously. And it's also in the afternoon in Europe, I believe. So we'll do the USA session as well, but it's not really so much about the session as about talking to each other and chatting about the markets and so on and so on. The reason I have the session time is because I have a time for the European sort of guys that want to do it in the morning, and a time for the American guys that want to do it in their morning as well, because their time's way off ours. So, you know, we can get together as well. It's a pleasure, though. Absolute pleasure, Sophia. Okay. Lawrence, thank you for the session. First one, so you still watch your property videos? Yeah, I did have some property videos. They weren't that good, but they were there. But yeah, it's good to have you on board. Glad to have you here, Lawrence. And stick around, and maybe we can turn you into a trader and get you out of that game and move you on to a better world. This is something, Lawrence, that I've been doing for 30 years. I've been trading since before the days of computers. I've always traded, and with everything I've done, I've always ended up back at the trading desk. So no matter what, whether it was on the side, whether I was doing it full-time, and I'm doing it full-time now again, is it's always the best, it's always the nicest way to live, and you live your best life doing trading. So yeah, we'll turn you into a proper trader, Lawrence. We'll get you in there. We'll get you going. But yeah, if you want to know anything about property, I know what I'm doing there. It's like, I know it inside out. I just refuse to deal with it anymore. I can't. They're absolutely crazy with their rules and regulations and whatnot. So I'm not doing that anymore. Okay, so chat soon, and we'll see you on the rebound. We'll definitely see you on Thursday for the live shows, and thanks for watching, guys. I hope you make lots of profit between now and then, and don't forget to come back and watch the normal videos, which are in between. I try and make one for the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I don't think I've missed one in a long time. And I also make the weekend video, which gives a rundown on the markets and what I think's happening and what's not happening. And I hope you're enjoying it. Okay, cool stuff. Chat soon. Have